What's in a name? Of course, this is also what we want to pick with a guest. Do we have also pertinent issues in this country that we should be discussing instead of looking at names? Allow me to introduce to you again Miguna, who is a lawyer. Also, we have with us Senator Aaron Cheruiyot from Kericho. We do have with us as well Herman Manyora, who is our resident analyst. And also we do have Kimani Wamatangi with us also, eagerly waiting for Jacomi Dio to join us this morning here on People and Politics. Let's begin with you, Miguna. Tharaka Nithi. We want a change of name. Do we have serious issues in this country that we should be discussing instead of names?
That's no comment. I don't think it's a national issue.
Is there a national
deal
issue?
with it in Tharaka Nithi. That's not something that we can subject to national debate.
Yes, let's hear from Senator.
Well, I'd comment about it, but just gloss over generally, because I do not come from the said county, but as someone who represents a different county in the Senate, it will be of interest to know at what point maybe, or what will be the procedural way if members of a particular county feel that the name that they have do not bring out their aspirations as a people, and maybe there's need for change. What is the procedure and those kind of discussions? But I think this is a discussion that is best left to the people of Tharaka Nithi so that they determine.
All right, maybe Meru South County has a magical one to it, Herman Manyora. Yeah, maybe it can bring, you know, a fresh of breath air to Tharaka Nithi.
Just as Nyamira may become Kisi something. And then Bometa and Kericho become Kipsigis, this and yeah. Well, it depends. If they want, it's okay. It's no problem. Well, like Senator Cheruiyot says, it is up to the people of that county to see what best name they would want to have. But again, this must be measured against certain national values and interests. If we all became tribal, well, I mean, really, there's not much I can say about beyond that.
All right, let's hear from Kimani Wamatangi. Happy felicitations for the new year. Good to see you.
Yeah, sure. Yes, same here, and happy new year to you.
Happy new year.
Yeah, sure. And let me say good morning to our viewers in this new year, 2018, and looking forward to good discussions here that will not only help shape national opinion and the way we do our things, but for a better country. And just a quick comment on that one. Remember, you could ask yourself that odd question: what is in a name? But if you remember, there's recent history in Tharaka Nithi. Remember, there was this time when they wanted when they argued a lot. Where were they going to place their county headquarters? And there was a big debate because they were arguing that then, and Tharaka Nithi is one of, I think in the Senate, 3 counties, which we allocated new funds to build a county headquarters because they never had any county headquarters. And there arose a very big debate, actually almost a confrontation, because some or most of them felt that a new headquarters should be built in the area of Tharaka. Others were saying, no, you already have existing infrastructure in one of their major towns, gets, and that became a big issue. And remember that county also has majorly two communities there, the Tharakas and the Merus. And so probably once you see that an issue like that one gets to elicit the attention of the governor and the women rep, that tells you that it's an issue that still is doing the rounds within the population. From our point of view, it may not look like it has weight, but you can be sure that most of the time, because it goes down to identity. Ask yourself, why do people fight about religious belief? I mean, you find that somebody says, I believe in Jesus. Another one says, I believe in that Muhammad was the last prophet. And then it becomes a big issue, and it sparks of an international war. I mean, so it may look like it is really a small issue. What would just tell the people of Tharaka Nithi is if it has been a debate that has been held or should be held, I think the best way is to resolve the matter, come up with either a solution to retain the old name or have a new name. But finally, I think that identity, yes, if the name of their county they want to be identified, they have a right to voice their concerns.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, looking at what we have also on the smart screen today is editorial cartoon in the Star. And of course, that was a leading story this morning as well about the power bills. There you go. This is the Kenyan who is really saddled up with that responsibility, you know, with the bills that right now they're skyrocketing. And of course, we had an attempt from the CS to explain, but it was not really very limpid and clear to Wananchi what it's all about. If we may just put up the cartoon again so that our guests may also comment on this. Miguna, I don't know if you've been receiving or maybe you have the postpaid or the prepaid.
Yeah, but this is a very clear sign of how we don't have an ethical, responsible, legitimate, and accountable government at the moment.
Yes.
At a time when we have hyperinflation, very high unemployment, or particularly of the youth, when we have the price of unga going up, when we know that the price of power in Kenya is higher than the price of power, say, in the United States or Canada or many European countries, even though the labor cost and other costs are significantly lower here, then you realize that this government is completely out of touch. This is a continuation of what they have been doing for the last 6 years. Rapacious corruption. They want to fund the campaigns that they had by, again, robbing the Kenyan people. And this have to be condemned, and we have to oppose it because there is absolutely no explanation that was given by the CS for energy. I listened to him, I've been listening to him for the last 3 days, and he has not said anything. At first, they claimed that they had not factored in certain things and that these are charges that were otherwise owed. They couldn't explain why they had not billed clients before. Then yesterday he was talking about the change from the manual to electronic billing system, how that would inflate the price to 10 billion, nobody knows. So no, this is just a sign that the Jubilee administration is a rogue administration and that Kenyans cannot allow this to continue.
All right.
From one scandal to another, and this is before, even 1 month into a new year. It's totally unacceptable. Yeah.
All right, Senator Cheriot, we know, of course, the president has been promising Kenyans, lower power rates. We're given to understand also there was a good salutary movement from the government when it came to subsidizing the manufacturing sector with the low tariffs as well. But looking at this particular development, the promise that we have from the president, and they've been very cagey with the information on how actually the tariffs are. When I subscribe to the prepaid, and you normally know, I've never gotten any clarity on why, if I buy my tokens within a certain period, there's a fluctuation that you buy from this particular date to that particular date, then this is a standard. From this particular date to that particular date is a standard. From this, there are 3 phases. So if you buy on the last phase, then you get higher tokens, which does not make any lick of sense to me.
Well, Debal, the history of this kind of problem that you're discussing in this country is well known from where we've been in the past, where we used to have what you would refer to as the old system of meter reading, or the postpaid, as they now call it, where you'd have members of staff from KPLC visit your home probably on a monthly basis and read the meter, then they'd send you a bill and you'd pay it, and that kind of a thing. And these are the kind of challenges that we used to experience from back in the day. But since the introduction of the prepaid meter reading system, which yesterday from the figures I heard from them, said about 4 or 5 million Kenyans are already on that system, it has brought some level of efficiency. I do experience exactly what you've just said, and I have gone ahead and sought clarification from KPLC on why, for example, I can buy tokens worth 1,000 Kenya shillings today, and I get maybe 60 or 70 units of power. Then on another day, if I buy from the same, I get maybe 20 or 30, and they explain to me that on a monthly basis, there are fixed charges that are billed to you as a consumer, which on your first purchase during the month happen to, they'll be deducted from the initial figure that you pay, and therefore that accounts for that kind of fluctuation that you're talking about. To me, it made good sense to me when I listened to them. But this kind of problem that we had yesterday, well, there are two things about it. One is it shows a willingness from a government that listens, because the hue and cry on the streets about these power bills was so huge to a level that it warranted the attention of none other than the cabinet secretary, and not even the managing director of KPLC, where he came and I listened to his address, where at least give them the due that what is due to them. They have proposed an application that very soon you shall be able to, once you have it on your phone, with good reading, and if you take a picture of your meter, should be able to give you a breakdown of your statement of how you're consuming your power. This is a kind of accountability that you have been yearning for as a people. And when you see continuous improvement, you know, it will be hypocritical of us to sit here and pretend as if power problems with Kenyans began in 2013 when Jubilee came to power. These are historical challenges, and so long as there is clear demonstration that there is an improvement, one, we have moved from that postpaid. We have people now who are unprepaid, though not the entire country. And secondly, they've loaded on this new application that they've given to their customers, that very soon you'll be able to see your breakdown of how you're consuming your power on a daily basis. Give it to them. There's an improvement, and you are getting better on. I hope to see that whatever they are telling us and whatever we are hearing from the minister is not just empty promises. But given the track record of this same institution, they've kept on improving. Let's wait and see what will happen in the days that are coming.
All right, let's hear from Haman. I think also, if I can't remember, was it last year or the year before, you were complaining about also, the 15,000, was it the 15,000 standard rate that was promised by Uhuru Kenyatta? So are you still in the dark?
Yeah, no, now I have at least 2 years without electricity installation. And the problem had been, Kenya Power would come and do the estimates. They will tell you about, say, 80,000. But the government would want to give the impression that they are giving free at 15,000 or less. Now, that was kind of standoff. And because they were not financing power then couldn't install, KPLC couldn't install electricity for me and other people. And they were not even releasing the, what do you call them, when you apply, what do you get? The costs, there's something they were not giving. I mean, quotations, they were not releasing. Because then you'll say, how come government is saying there's free electricity, or at 15,000, and I have one of 70,000. So those kind of, but the problem with we are seeing, this is just a tip of the iceberg. If in this country you are looking for where corruption resides, you'll go to the energy sector. This is where you have multi-billion shilling or dollar tenders that you can't even explain how they work. This is where big prominent fellows make quick bucks selling all manner of things and giving all manner of contracts. This is why, for your information, the bar, you cannot be energy minister or secretary. You cannot be principal secretary in the energy ministry unless you are fully compliant. So I'm not surprised that I'm seeing this kind of things. I had thought and hoped that the president would use this new term in reconstituting his government to go and look out for men and women who have the capacities and the competencies to help him run his government. And the energy sector is a key player if you want to develop a country. I hear one of those, they are calling forward. For their 4 things, pillars or whatever they are calling.
Priority areas.
Priority areas. They are all laughable at the end of the day. Because energy is so critical, if you want to industrialize, if you want to develop. But if you have this kind of comic figures running the sector, you can't go anywhere.
Which comic figure?
What is it? What are we talking about this morning? What are we talking about? About a deficit of 8 billion of a company that declared dividends the other day. What are we talking about? This is all comical.
All right, so we eagerly await maybe for the new chairman who will be appointed today, where maybe can bring a discernible difference in the power sector. Let's inform Kimani Matani. Yeah,
Dibal, I remind myself, yesterday and the day before yesterday, there was a social media message and also a tweet, I think, that did a lot of rounds about what has happened in the power sector in Germany. They were saying that now the power sector in Germany has, the tariffs have gone into the negative. They pay you to consume that now they're going out on the streets to come and prod you and beseech you. Can we have a deal so that you can agree to consume power, because they have produced so much that they are unable to make it viable business that of getting it consumed. And in the tweet, what I was saying is that they have generated so much green energy from so many small sources that actually now, they have too much of it that they can't seem to be able to market it. Now, what does that say? That says that, we have to agree as a country that we still have a long, long way to go. And we owe it to our people, to Kenyans, to ensure that we keep ourselves focused on such a goal where eventually Kenyans will not have to wake up to leave, to work and hustle, so that they can just make ends meet, and especially pay such a big portion of their income into just maybe getting power to run their domestic chores and other issues. So we must be very clear about that is a road, it's a destination that we must aim to get to, and we have to also say clearly that we are not yet there. So that we should be clear in our minds. That's what we want to do. Then secondly, we also then have to look backwards and ask ourselves, so how has the journey been and where are we right now? Have we made progress? And I would answer in the affirmative, yes, we have made progress. Because if you look at the tariffs, how much does the ordinary person now pay in terms of power? And backdate, look at what we were doing 10 years ago. You can say we were not where we were then 10 years ago. So we've made progress. Now, what we should be saying in light of such complaints from one end is that we need to do a lot much more better. Because definitely, whether it was either misbillings or a hitch in the bills that were there before, there are complaints from members of the public. And when people complain, they are complaining for a reason. And so my urge would be to Kenya Power, to the Minister of Energy, that yes, we acknowledge you have made progress, you have done quite a lot. It is true, Dibal, that this government has done quite a lot in the energy sector. If you look at really all the projects from especially like in Okaria, where we have had a lot of investment in renewable energy, really there has been a lot of effort that has been put, so we must give to that. As a country, let's be positive, let's be truthful to where we are going, but we also have to say to our Kenyan people, we acknowledge that you have complaints, where there's a destination we have to get to, we are not yet there, and we owe it to you. We'll do our best together.
Right, thank you. Yeah. Let's hear from Jacomi Dio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Dibal. Dibal, something is missing out of this debate. Why does power cost so much in Kenya? And why are we investing so heavily every budget year? The answer is simple. It's corruption. The biggest corruption sector in our country is power. And as,
I think we're going to allude to that.
Yes, when we, well, sorry, I was came in before, after he spoke. But I thought the president said the other day that he was going to lower power tariffs by 50%. Then they changed the story. They say he was lowering industrial power tariffs. There's no way you can grow economy if the major driver of an economy, which is the energy sector, is so costly. I think we have a problem as a country, and I think we need to, first of all, question the real role of ERC, because I think ERC is misplaced in a liberalized economy. There is no way you can have a body that can wake up one morning and say, today these are the tariffs, tomorrow these are the tariffs. What they are doing, they are stagnating this economy. And I think as much praise as you want to heap on the Jubilee government, my good senators, your praise is misplaced, because when you say the situation in Germany, why would they be so different from us? Why would their country have so much excess power and ours with all the investment? And I can tell you, Dibal, the people doing this thing to Kenyans, they are very few people. They are not 5. And they are the most powerful families in this country. The people enjoying the so-called investment in the power sector. There are very few people, and the sooner this country deals with it, the better. And how I wish what we could have going forward is investment in the potential counties, so that those counties, for example, if you went to Odino, for example, Ndano Falls, you should have several power generating plants, but selling to the national grid, not giving it for free so that they can sell it back to us. Thank you.
All right. Okay, your final comment on Kenya Power. Do we need to expand? Because we know there have been salutary effort also from the government when it comes to expanding the portfolio of the Kenya, the power source. Talk about the Kenya Nuclear Electricity Board that we do have in this country. There's also, I think they're lapping up the idea of also using coal power at the coast as well, which is drawing a lot of debate. Do we need to go there when people are advancing to renewable energies aside from coals as well? Maybe briefly, when we wind up on this, is there any rhyme or reason? And why?
I hope we are going to wind up on this, because yes, there are other national issues that we must discuss. But
this one is big. Is affecting.
This power thing, this is just corruption. I mean, look at the Business Daily. It says poor homes to pay more as electricity subsidy is scrapped.
Yes.
Which means that it is the poor that, again, are being burdened by this scandal. And when you look at the major story on the Business Daily, it's central bank on the spot in 10 billion currency deal. So it's just corruption after corruption. The point is this. We don't have to go to coal. In fact, I think that one is another scandal. Coal is a very dirty energy which most countries are running away from and have effectively run away from. We are trying to reduce the use of fossil fuels, and we are trying to reduce pollution, and we are trying to live in a clean environment, and coal is not the way to go. We have enough water so we can have hydroelectric energy adequate for everyone's use. The population is fairly low. And nuclear is clean, but very quite, again, risky. But strategic, careful investment in nuclear would have addressed this issue a long time ago. But we have not been told what is happening with that huge investment in the nuclear technology. Nothing. So the CS comes with basically no explanation to justify the huge amount of money. You know, 10 billion shillings is not little money. This is the kind of money that if you were to put in Nairobi, you would not have traffic gridlock. You would not have garbage everywhere. I'm not saying that they don't have enough now to do that. I'm just saying the amount of money each is massive. And for someone to say that this is money they are going to recover from some mistake that we don't understand, that they themselves made, and that the public that is suffering. If you go to any industry today, if you talk to any Kenyan who is employed, leave alone the unemployed, they will tell you there is no money. There is no money circulating in the economy. There is no money to buy anything. People are not investing in industry because there is no money. people are not buying homes because there is no money. You know, these are the drivers of the economy. Industry and real estate, construction. Few constructions are going up. If you see them, you will see people building malls and office spaces which remain unoccupied because corruption money has to be put somewhere. So they're busy constructing white elephants all over that does not generate economic growth. And we are saying the priorities are upside down, and the blame is squarely on the Jubilee administration.
All right. Maybe if you want to respond to that, I will give you a minute or two. Just briefly, we move on to other stories.
You know, Dibal, the reason why it's really difficult to get things moving in this country is that many other times we view things through the prism of politics only, and we reduce every debate to be about Uhuru has done this, Jubilee has done that. If you want us to have a serious discussion on energy sector, Dibal, you do know that countries that have safe, reliable, efficient and cheap power did not do so overnight. You do so by strategically investing in such a sector for years and years. Uhuru Kenyatta has been in power for hardly 5 years. But when we want to reduce all this debate and the challenges that we have in the power sector to his ability or inability, then we are not being serious to ourselves. We need to be honest, Dibal, and become, when we come before your show each and every morning, is that we speak to Kenyans as people who want to make progress in this country and question certain aspects and say, what are the things that are being done in the energy sector? Are we pumping more power into the national grid? Are we doing so in an affordable way? What is the plan? What are the things that we wish to do? But if we come here every morning and want to reduce each and every debate to be Jubilee versus NASA, then I'm sorry, Dibal, that's not the kind of progress and debates that I'd wish to involve myself into. Let us speak and raise the level, question ourselves, and please just give me my time.
You can leave if you don't want
No, let him finish. No, let him finish. Just finish. Aaron, just finish.
If we all begin to help each other, I doubt if we'll have a show.
Please, just finish.
But I keep my comments to myself.
Just let him have his time.
Keep yours to yourself as well.
No,
No, Miguna, just let him have his time, please. Please, yeah.
He had his time.
Just finish.
So my point is, Dibal, if you want us to have serious and constructive engagement, let us come here and place before us what are the investments that the government is making in the energy sector. Are they affordable? Do they make economic sense in the next maybe 2, 3 or 4 and 5 decades? What did other countries do to get to levels that you're aspiring to? That's the kind of debate that we should be having, but not reduce it to every other time that, oh, Jubilee this, NASA that. Doesn't serve this country.
All right, Haman Manyora, just hold your breath because we need to take a short break. But before we do that, of course, also to act as a segue to a next discussion as well, it is also the quest for dialogue that NASA is asking for. And of course, we've had also a rejoinder from the other side of the pendulum where, of course, the government says, no, if we are to train our focus on any discussion or dialogue, it should be on development and not on electoral reforms as well. Just take a listen.
Members of the international community get jittery when we talk about the swearing in of our president and his deputy. But that is just an issue. The bigger issue is all these reforms. And I was also very clear that what we want is not inclusion in government. We don't want to walk into Uhuru Ruto government. Over 90% of business that is transacted in parliament is largely generated from the executive. So there is need to sort out the messes in the executive.
Right, we continue past with the discussions here with, of course, our panelists. I'm holding court this morning with Jacomi Dio, and of course, who's a former member of Parliament, GEM. Also, we do have with us Miguna, who's a lawyer. We do have with us Senator Aaron Cheruiyot from Kericho, Haman Manyora, who's a political commentator, and we do have also as well Senator Kimani Matangi from Kiambu. Before we took a short break, Haman, you were actually straining at the leash to say something.
Yeah, just in a minute or less.
Please.
Energy is important, like we have said on this bench this morning.
Yes.
You cannot move without energy. There are 3 things in my view which we need to do and to sort out this problem. One is end theft and the corruption in the energy sector. 2 is inject new thinking. And the 3 is to liberalize the sector. Now, when you end open theft that goes on, in the energy sector,
Yes.
like when something happens and there's disruption of electricity, there are all manner of contractors called in and they make big, huge monies for doing nothing. And that's why you'll have a problem having a resumption of the services because it must take a few days for them to justify what they are getting. So when you end corruption, you get efficient services. When you end corruption and theft, you'll have enough money to inject into the next phase, which I'm calling fresh thinking, that will go into like, for example, research and investment in new and forms of energy, especially renewable ones, clean energy. We talk about Germany having excess now, and the reason is it is because that energy comes from wind and from the sun, which are kind of seasonal. You don't get them every day. Now, you can't say that about Kenya. We have sunshine all around the year. We should be doing very well in what they call solar energy. But we need money to invest in that sector. But the money is being eaten. So when you don't eat the money, you don't steal it. You invest in those kind of forms of energies. Now, when you liberalize the sector, you have other players generating electricity, and in order to recoup their investment, they should be allowed to sell this electricity to other consumers. Of course, there should be some kind of policy to regulate all this. The bar, long before you were born, Wazungu teachers and missionaries in this country were generating electricity for some schools. You can go to Chabakali and it will be shown where they were generating electricity for the school. Now we have to create monopolies for people to eat. Look, these many years, we are still buying concrete posts. I thought with all this land this country has, we would have invested in tree planting. About 1,000,002 acres of land, which we are almost reclaiming. And then you plant trees for power to use. And now what is happening? What are we having? We have a few individuals like Jacob Mido is saying, selling concrete posts. So long as you want to eat from the sector, it will never grow. And the person who will suffer will be the common man. And we must stop playing games with the common people. Look, for example, in education, you told us you are going to give us free education. Where is this free education today? Right now, I'm trying to struggle to pay fees for children in my village, some of them relatives of mine, who have been admitted to national schools. But the government is talking about free education. There's nothing like free education. Many of the children who are supposed to report today in national schools, take it from me, the bar will not do so. They will lose those chances. They will try their luck in day schools. They will not take up places. And the government is saying by Friday, the chances are gone. We must move away from giving this kind of treatment to our own citizens. So the energy sector, if we stopped theft, allowed new thinking, hired competent people in the sector, then we'll move forward.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. And I think we need to...
Just a very quick one on
still on power, I think we were winding up on that.
Yes, sure. But you asked a very direct question. Do we need to expand? And you first started by citing the case of Germany. You asked, just to get there, do we need to expand? And I think I would first want to say precisely what my colleague was saying. Every thought and answer to every problem we have, if first it is marinated in politics before it is given out, then you are going to have precisely what these gentlemen are talking about. A limbo. You can't move if that is the way you see things. But just two cases that I would want to cite so that we can agree what is our way forward. See, Dibal, if today you go to Kericho, when the ministry agreed to allow some privateers to generate power, there are tea estates in Kericho now who produce their own power. In fact, they've been asking for licenses to even supply members of the public. If you talk to every governor right now in this country, they will tell you they have had more approaches than they can manage from international companies offering to recycle garbage in counties and generate power to give to wananchi, which is green and cheaper. And what we are saying is very simple, that yes, indeed we need to expand if you go to for example, in Okaria, talk to these guys, you know, the geothermal development company, you find that way in Menengai, there are wells which have already been which have been dug, and they are still shooting steam in the air, which are not tapped right now. So what you're saying is this, that yes, we need to expand, we need to enhance, we should be able to give power to our people at cheaper rates, and definitely go the renewable energy way. So in summary, what I would be saying is that I would want to ask my colleagues, this is a journey. We have already embarked on it. We have made progress. We are making progress. And eventually, if we pull together, if we make the right choices, we should be able to provide cheap energy to our people, affordable energy.
Right.
For
Right. You wind up on it.
Yes.
Very briefly.
But you know, when Senator Cheriot says, and Wamatangi buttresses that we can't talk politics. Politics drive policy. You know, I find this Jubilee Brigade quite amazing, because they say, we want to talk about the economy, but we can't talk about changes. Talk about the economy, in other words, you are admitting you are incapable. You know, because as in opposition, our work is to push you to do good for our people. So you can't chastise us for putting politics forward, because that's what we are meant to do. But Dibal, ask yourself, who owns these 2 concrete farms in this country? You cannot be the protector of public good and still trade with the public. Who owns the one in Mombasa? Who owns the one in Eldoret? We must also ask ourselves, why is it a particular person that must always be the chairman of Energy Committee in Parliament? You know, these are real issues. When Parliament is that is supposed to monitor is headed by somebody who is the biggest investor in the energy sector, then you know you have a problem as a country. And Wamatangi, let me tell you for free, Cheriot may be an interested party. But let me tell you, unless you people that hold power sort out this hierarchy of who owns what in the energy sector, the result will always be the same. And the people are known. We know who they are. And why must they always be the chairman of those committees? So you have people from nearly one village generally. One is a minister, one is a senior person trading in concrete, the other one is the chairman to monitor them, but also an investor. Tell me if you will get transparency.
So this issue about the concrete, because of course we know there were so many Kenyans who were planting trees,
yes,
looking forward to get maybe a tender from Kenya Power to supply those, you know, those posts. Then all of a sudden we see a sudden change where we have, you know, trees are being pulled down, we have concrete all over, and we wonder, well, when was this decision made? Why? Many will argue, oh, maybe this is also because we want to reserve our forests as well. But you see, there is a political interest in this, and people are actually benefiting from this as well. So we're talking about corruption.
You know, Debal, anybody who says that there is time for politics and then there is time for other things is either completely ignorant of what politics is and shouldn't be involved in any national debate, or is completely dishonest. Politics is everything. It is what determines the price of unga, what determines how many people will be employed this year, is what determines the price of electricity, is what determines who becomes CS, is what determines public policy in all sphere. The illegitimate president, the president of Jubilee, is a politician, and his deputy, who is the one who is selling concrete to Kenya Power, is a politician. People don't want to mention that it is Ruto who owns the 2 factories that my friend Yakoe was mentioning in Mombasa and in Eldoret. So that is where the problem is. We need to name them. This thing of skirting around like buffoons must end. Who is the person who is driving this? It is William Samoei Ruto, the chicken seller. He's the one driving all these things.
But we don't have any...
No. We have evidence.
Where is the evidence?
It is his companies. It is your job, the ball. No. Now I'm putting you on the spot. It is your job. No, listen to me, please. It is your job.
Yes.
It is your job because you brought the issue up. When you bring us the Business Daily, which is published by the Daily Nation, and you have as the headline, poor homes to pay more for electricity subsidy, and you have a minister nominated by William Ruto from his own party, URP, before they merged, and you have William Ruto selling concrete poles to Kenya Power, you do due diligence in your library downstairs or upstairs, wherever it is in this building, and you will find that William Ruto owns the two companies. It is not a secret.
Okay, fine. But you know, when we come to the show, what we want is evidentiary documents. Because this is coming from the left side. This was not really planned. We talk about this, yes?
Can I finish?
Yeah. So
you see, the problem with you is that you are looking for evidence as if you told us that you are going to discuss the price of electricity beforehand, and that you need evidence before we can talk. You know, public statements like commentaries or even opinion can be expressed without me coming with the documents. I don't have to come with the documents.
But you know, that is
this is not a court of law.
It will be a libel statement.
No, it is not libelous because it is a fact. And if you go to the registrar of companies, you are going to find that William Ruto, through himself and proxies, controlled the two companies. And I have evidence on other things that I came with, which I thought was going to be the subject to the debate. And when we get there, I'm going to discuss them. Let's not run away from the political crisis in Kenya today, the illegitimacy of the Jubilee government. That is where what I want to discuss today. That's what brought me today.
Thank you.
And I came with evidence.
You came with evidence.
Yes.
All right. Let's say from Senator
Well, I've just learned a new concept this morning that I can come to your show and say, Jakoyo Midiwo, you know, owns all the soda that you drink in this country. Then it will be your business to find out. Then it will be your business to find out whether what I'm alleging is true or not true. That's an alien concept. I've never heard about it in any civilized world. You know, when you're accusing somebody, at least have the decency to show us something that we can believe. Just don't say it is fact. What is a fact? A fact is what is in the public domain, like what I'm about to tell you. That when we discuss the energy sector, for example, part of the things that we consume on a day is how Kenyans prepare their food. And one of the means they use is gas cylinders. Who controls that market? Jakoyo Midiwo knows. He's an interested party. It is controlled by his uncle, none other than the NASA leader.
Facts.
That is a fact. So where is your
That is known.
Evidence.
So
Okay.
Listen.
You asked me for evidence.
All right.
We are back there. We are not back there.
Where is his evidence?
Okay. We are not back there. Let me show you how.
All right. Let him finish.
Let me give you my evidence.
Just give me.
Allow me to give you the evidence.
Okay. Yeah. Let him finish. Let him finish. Jacko, let him finish. All right. Aaron,
Yo, it's the other way around. You're his uncle.
Oh, you finish.
It's your nephew.
Okay. Aaron, just finish.
Personal relation. Spectre International. Anybody who's been in this country long enough knows that it is owned. You know, tell us the company that you're talking about.
Show us the evidence.
Show us the company.
I wanted to.
Okay. I don't want to be involved in this evidence. Just a moment. Have you finished? Are you done? Let's say from how.
Okay, let's give
for the sake of the viewers. For the sake of for the sake of the viewers and for our own sake here, and I think for your sake as a media house, I think it is general practice that certain observations may be made by persons such as us without necessarily tabling evidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then if every public debate of this nature were to be reduced to evidence production, then it will not even move. However, there must be some measure of, you know, decorum as we go about it. And like he says, everybody knows Spectre. I don't know myself, and I'm an educated Kenyan. I don't know who wants Spectre.
No, you have chosen.
How do I know? I don't know. I have no evidence. Equally,
But you're allowed to make the statement, right?
we are allowed to make, except the media house
So are you
must
professing,
moderate how we do it.
ignorance deliberately because you don't want to be involved in the debate, or you do not know about Spectre?
Because I have no evidence. Like everybody else, I have heard.
No, you don't know Spectre that
Like
is associated.
everybody else, I have heard. Spectre International is linked to the Odinga family. Like many other people in this country, I have also heard the concrete posts supplied to Kenya Power and Lighting are from a company associated with William Ruto. So, well, but that's where's the evidence.
There are two things.
30 seconds. Okay, your 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds.
Beginning now.
You know, there are two issues, Dibal, that we need to debate. One is the ownership of this concrete poles and that kind of business. I'm not so interested in it. The real question that we should be asking ourselves, is it cheaper for KPLC to use concrete poles as opposed to using the timber that they used before? And the information that KPLC has put out before is that when they use concrete poles, it is cheaper for them in the long run because they don't have to replace it every now and then. That's common sense.
But the question will be again, just a moment, the question will be again, was this particular development also put out to the public and tenders also open for people to actually put up the tenders?
How many
we never saw.
It is in your newspaper every year. Supply of concrete poles to KPLC.
No.
It is an open tender.
I have never seen that open tender myself. If you have,
go to KPLC website right now.
All right.